welcome back to the Witch's Cauldron. This is the first video in the Wicca 201 video series, and this video is going to focus on working with the moon, working with lunar energies, and bonding with lunar influences on a deeper level. You learned a little bit about, waxing and waning moons and things of that nature on a very high level in the Wicca 101 video. This one gets down even deeper into it, okay? When you stop and think about the moon from a scientific perspective, it's pretty well known, without the moon, we wouldn't have gravity on Earth. It influences our tides, our oceans, the cresting of our rivers, and everything like that with that gravitational pull. And for those of us who, work in either public safety or in, say, a hospital setting, a medical setting, you kind of come to dread full moons because people's behaviors are often more erratic. In jails, you tend to have more fights. I apologize. We're getting some clouds moving in and overcasting, and the lighting is changing a lot as this video is going on. I apologize. There's not much I can do about it. Hospitals during full moons often experience an increase in births. Police departments often respond to more domestic violence cases during a full moon. In the fire department, we notice more calls that are medical related, like cardiac arrests and births. So with that, it does have a physical impact to you. And what this part is going to really bring forward is to have you start documenting and noticing exactly by the date, what phase. Have you document daily for several weeks through the entire 13 weeks of this session. What phase the moon's in, what sign is it in the sky, are there other influences going on, what was your mood like, if you're a woman, were you having your period during this time, track your menses, just different things. It also will help you figure out like your daily influences. Okay, so that's one thing. In the handouts, I do link a couple, or in the description box of this video, I will link a couple of websites that are very good for tracking the moon and what influences there are at play. Okay. There are apps you can buy on the phone for your phone, both iOS and Android. And I believe I went over them before. I will link, I will tell you what they are in the description box, and it maybe put it in the handout. So let's get into it. Okay, the new moon from the last series, is about initiation and new things. Okay, so it's not just about tackling a new project. Okay, this is about trying to get a new job, planting. Since I am from a rural area of the United States, I remember my mom and dad would check the almanac and see what phase, when the new moon was, because there were only certain things that you would plant during a new moon. I remember vividly when we went to make sauerkraut, or a fermented or pickled kind of concoction, like if we were making dill pickles or bread and butter pickles, anything like that, or making sauerkraut anything like that, we always started it on a new moon. Because if you didn't, things tended to mold and not turn out exactly right. If you were doing a brine based, you know, kind of thing where, you know, things had to sit for a certain period of time before you actually went and canned them and preserved them. There was a process to it. And my mom and dad always on a new moon, man, because if you did it at any other time, it just didn't turn out right. And I never stopped and thought about that until I started walking this path. There were a lot of things in my Appalachian culture that I just took for granted, you know, as like, you know, the old folk sayings and stuff. But it was true. It was because of the influence of the moon on us, on our daily lives, okay? So it's all about that spark, bringing life to an idea, getting you to get up and do something, okay? It's about the impetus to get you up and moving, to get something started, to get something initiated, okay? Now, there is one phenomenon that I did not mention in my earlier video, and that is the second new moon within a month is called a black moon. Some people also refer to a black moon when there is no full moon within a calendar month. This only happens in February, and that particular phenomenon only happens like every 19 years or so, where a black moon happens about, I want to say around 20 months, 19, 20 months, something like that, something in that area. So this is where your spell crafting and those, it is really, really powerful. And this is not to be confused with black magic, okay? That's something completely different. But if you do a spell during a black moon about bringing something to fruition, doing something, you know, getting that spark, getting that creative idea, getting something off the ground, a new business, a new venture, a new job, your spells are particularly powerful during that time. Because that influence, that lunar influence, does not happen that month. It doesn't happen every month, okay? It's months, over a year between happenings of this. So that's why that is so particularly powerful. And a lot of Wiccans just say, you know, I don't do magic during that time, you know, blah, 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 blah. With me, I take advantage of those lunar influences completely. Now, when the new moon is the actual night of the new moon and the next night, okay? The night after that, it becomes a waxing moon, okay? It starts to appear a little bit larger in the sky, and it's heading toward full, okay? In this phase, this is when the goddess is the maiden, remember? So this is new ideas, new beginnings, building, growth. This is a great time to do spells like when you've planted seedlings and stuff, to give them that extra little boost of magical energy, to give them a little bit extra oomph to them, okay? It is the law of attraction. And I've had somebody tell me, you know, the waxing moon, wax on, you bring stuff to you, and the waning moon, wax off, you keep things away from you. Just think of it that way. So this is the law of attraction, okay? It brings things to us. When we want a better job, we want a new love, more financial security, it's bringing it to us, improved health, something like that, okay? Now, from the day after the new moon, when the waxing moon starts, until the moon comes in the first quarter, where it looks like it's, half, okay? That's called first quarter. And that is a waxing crescent moon, okay? From first quarter until the full, it's called a waxing gibbous moon, okay? So just keep those in mind. The full moon is when your psychic abilities and your abilities for divination, things of that nature, are at their highest. This is when the goddess is the mother, okay? We focus on fertility, again, growth, transformation, fulfillment, love, and just raw power, okay? Power to bring things to fruition. This is when you commonly do what is called drawing down the moon. Now, some people have their particular ritual for doing this. What I normally do during the full moon, there are two things that I do for each full moon. One is I put a bowl full of water. The full moon is actually the night before the full moon, the actual full moon, and the day after the full moon. So over 3 days, I put a big bowl of either spring water or purified water outside where the moon will hit it. Okay, for me, it's my back deck. So I put that moon out there, and that is full moon water. I use this not only in my magical workings, I often use this for protection, for psychic protection, for doing making my own purified mist with essential oils and things like that. And for protecting my home from spirit and negative energy. I load that into a bottle and I make room sprays out of it almost. So, and then the second thing that I do during the full moon to draw down the moon, I actually go outside. I don't care if there's snow up to my eyeballs. I go out there, I go out on my back deck, because just the way that my deck is situated, I have the most beautiful moon most of the time of the year. Sometimes I have to go out my front steps. That's more in the July into August. I have to go out the front. But the rest of the year, it's over off my back deck. And I go out there and I spend time with the goddess, just letting that moonlight bathe over me and feeling that power. And then I do the goddess chant, and I will put a card up here and link it in the description box. I do have a goddess chant that I have recorded. It's very easy to do. I start out very low, and then my voice gets stronger and louder each time I repeat the chant. And that is how I physically draw down the moon, my palms up, doing my goddess chant to receive that energy. Okay? Now, when there are 2 full moons within a calendar month, this is called a blue moon, hence the term once in a blue moon. This occurs every 2.5 years, okay? This is something to try something new, okay? Something that you wouldn't normally try. And it's also about achieving long-term goals. So think about something that you want to come to fruition between this blue moon and the next one, okay? So this isn't, I need it right now. this is where I want to be in 2.5 years. I want you, the universe, the divine, to show me the way to this in the next 2.5 years. Okay. This is kind of like fulfilling wishes. Okay. Now, as I said earlier, the absence of a full moon within a calendar month is also called a black moon. Okay. So this, like I said, this only occurs like every 19 years, if I remember correctly. I mean, I may not remember it exactly right, but I'm in the ballpark there. So from full until the dark moon is called the waning moon. Okay. This is when the moon starts appearing to get smaller again. Okay. In the sky. At this point, the goddess is entering into her crone phase. In the first part, from full until third quarter, she's still in the later part of the mother phase. And then toward third quarter, she enters the crone phase. Okay. So this is when we start focusing on things like wisdom, your intuition, and your healing. Okay. This is a time to release negative energies, to banish harmful things and thoughts, release things that bring harm to us, remove something. So remember, waxing moon on, bring it to me, attract it to me. Waning moon off, get it away from me. Okay. Now from full moon to third quarter is called the waning gibbous moon. Okay. From third quarter until the dark moon, it's called the waning crescent moon. Okay. Now remember, the waning moon is to banish things, to get things away from you, to release harmful, negative energies and things from your life. Okay. The dark moon is one night, and it is the night before the new moon. There is absolutely no light reflecting off the surface of the moon. Okay. This is a time when the goddess is in her dark goddess phase. Okay. This is the time of protection and defensive work. It's also a time for shadow work. Work on your shadow self. Okay. Now, when there are 2 dark moons within a calendar month, the second is called the she moon, and it's Sidhe, but it's pronounced she. And it's also sometimes referred to as the fairy moon. This is really when you get the most benefit of shadow work. No spell casting should be done on this. This is also a time that is a very good time to make offerings to the Fae. However, I do make offerings to the Fae because I like to keep them happy. There is nothing worse than a pissed off member of the Fae. So this is also a time for the warrior goddess. Okay. So if there is something going on, like, and I hate to say it, domestic violence, something of that nature, this is a time for really powerful protection. You know, if you've got a stalker, if you have someone who is also a magical practitioner sending, you know, curses and hexes your way, and that's just a really pain in your butt, this is a really, really effective time to offer what I call a witch slap to somebody. And I don't do that very often. You can do it at other times, but if there happens to be a she moon, it's really powerful. Okay. What I do more during a she moon is shadow work. And that's working on myself, on my shadow self. Okay? Now, there is a phenomenon, and this, I believe, originated in Hawaiian culture, where when the crescent moon appears at the bottom of the moon, okay? Because as we make our transit, around the sun and everything, the earth doesn't do just this. It wobbles and, does one of these little things too. So we have different views of a crescent moon. It's always not just the sides like we see in the triple goddess symbol that we're all familiar with, right? If it appears at the bottom of the moon, this is called a wet moon because it looks like a bowl, okay? And in the northern hemisphere, this usually occurs in the winter time, okay? Like January, February-ish. And that's because the Hawaiians used to say that this is when it would hold the water, hold the rain, okay? And then as the season goes on, it goes back into that traditional crescent that we think of most of the time, where the water would then dump out of the bowl and bring in the rainy season in the spring, okay? So think about that also, all right? The next thing I want to do is, okay, I've just gone through all of this with the phase. Now we're going to talk about your intent. You do not have to wait for a particular phase of the moon to work your magic and do spell casting. This is all about how you phrase it, how you think about it, and how you build that intent, okay? Let's say, for instance, okay, you want to quit a bad habit. You want to quit smoking, okay? On the new moon, you would phrase it, I want to start a new phase of my life without cigarettes, okay? The waxing moon, bring myself to quit X, cigarettes. On the full moon, I'm going to say, I'm going to quit, boom, cigarettes. The waning moon, you want to remove the urge to smoke. On the dark moon, you banish the urge to smoke. So I'm not limited that I have to say, oh, I want to banish it. I have to wait for the waning moon. It's all in how you phrase it and how you set the intent, okay? Another one, money drawing and prosperity spells. Those, everybody likes more money in their pocket. So on the new moon, you would say, bring new financial ease, okay? The waxing moon, bring more money to me. The full moon, give me money. The waning moon, remove spending money unnecessarily. Dark moon, banish unnecessary expenses. See where I'm going? For those of us who maybe you're a creative person and you're writing a book and you've got writer's block, you just don't know what to do. The new moon, you want a spark of a creative idea. In the waxing moon, you want to bring new creative ideas to me, okay? The full moon, make me creative. The waning moon, remove obstacles to a creative endeavor. In other words, remove my writer's block. On the dark moon, we would say banish my writer's block. So you see where that's going. Then we come into the influences of the day of the week. So let's say, let's go through the days of the week. On Monday, that's all about illusion, glamours, sleep, peace, beauty, prophecy, dreams, emotions, travel, fertility, insight, and wisdom. It's about women's mysteries. Okay. Tuesday, courage, victory, strength, conviction, defense, wards, protection. Wednesday, it's communication, it's arts, it's transportation, it's change, luck, gambling, fortune, chance, and creativity. Thursday, abundance, protection, prosperity, strength, wealth, and healing. Friday, love, birth, fertility, romance, friendship, passion. Saturday, banishing, protection, wisdom, spirituality, and cleansing. And Sunday, success, promotion, fame, wealth, prosperity. That's just a few. There are additional correspondences to the days of the week, but these are just some of the most popular ones. So let's say you want to quit that smoking habit, okay? And you're in the waning phase of the moon, okay? And that gives you a lot of days to pick from to do this. So you want to think, okay, you want to change things. You want to increase your health. You might want some strength to, keep this from you. You want increased health by doing this, by stopping smoking. So you could pick, for instance, Thursday for healing and strength. Okay. You could do it on a Tuesday and embrace courage, strength, and success to help you achieve that goal. You could do it on a Saturday to banish that nasty habit from you. So you can think about the building blocks. You set the intent, you've got your moon phase, you have that lunar energy helping you. You pick a day of the week, okay? Then that day of the week also has colors associated with it. And we're going to get into color magic in another video. But you can see how you start that building block of the next thing. So then you've also got deities that are typically associated with particular days of the week. Or you can pick a deity that is for that particular thing that you want to get rid of, okay? That is why I really highly recommend that you buy either the Llewellyn Complete Book of Correspondences or Holland's Grimoire of Magical Correspondences. This will help you tremendously. It's not required, but I got to tell you, I break those out on the regular. So in the handout, I have given you lunar phases for 2019 and 2020. And I also gave you, for the full moon of each month, what each month's full moon is called and the typical energies that are associated with that particular full moon. You're not limited to those particular correspondences, but those are the magics and the correspondences that are really usually embraced during those particular months. So my challenge to you is to really pay attention to how the moon influences you day to day, week to week, month to month. Part of the process is going to be documenting everything. This is when you really start the cornerstone of your Book of Shadows and of your Grimoire, okay? In this particular session, the homework for this particular video is to read the handouts, to read in the Wicca Magic Starter Kit, Candle Magic, Introduction through Being Practical, and Table 3 Days of the Week, to write about your thoughts and feelings about what you've read. There is going to be a lunar tracking sheet linked to a Google document in the description box. Track every day of the week. Write down your thoughts and experiences, what phase the moon is in, whether it's a waxing crescent, a waning gibbous, full moon, and what sign, astrological sign it's in. That's going to be also one of the websites that I'm going to link for you in the description box, and some apps in the handouts that I can link for you. Thoughts about timing and lunar cycles and how you can make them work in your magical practice. How can you really start embracing those different influences that are just outside the typical of attract, banish, wish fulfillment, and new projects. Really expand the way that you think about things and how you can make an intent work through each phase of the moon. What I also want you to do is to really notice how the moon affects you as you go along throughout this whole series. For this particular week, I want you to do, there is a Wicca 201 grounding and centering meditation. It's a brand new meditation out on the channel. It will be linked in the description box. I want you to write about how your meditation, how your grounding and centering went. I want you to get into the habit of really staying grounded and centered. And when you start feeling a little off kilter, do a really quick meditation. You can do it in your mind. You don't have to listen to a guided meditation, but access that grounding and centering influence, okay? Access that power to keep you on a more even keel. And I also want you to write and perform a lunar ritual. You choose the intent, you choose the phase, but tell me, what goddess did you invoke? What is the intent? What was the timing? Did you perform the ritual? How did the ritual go? I want you to document your experience. There will be a ritual worksheet for you to use if you want to, linked in out to a Google Doc in the description box. This is a sheet that you can print out and put in your book of shadows, okay? This is going to be about really documenting your journey and how you build your craft and make it yours. I'm not here to tell you how to believe or how to practice. I'm here to help guide you in finding what works for you and how you become more powerful through your spell crafting and embracing different types of magics and different influences to really empower your intent and make your magic even more special to you, okay? If you want to send me your homework, you can absolutely email it to me. My email is at the end, and I'll put it down in the description box also. I will reply back to you. It may take me a few days, but I will reply back to you because I do enjoy reading what you guys write, okay? With that, my friends, merry we did meet, merry we will part until we merry meet again. Be well and walk in love and light, everybody. Bye.